Welcome back to part 2 of this poker tournament. This is the first hand back from break. I raise this one up and I hit this board of King 5 Ace, 3 clubs. With the Queen of Clubs in my hand, I have the best flush draw possible and top pair. So I'm just going to check. I'm going to give my opponents all of the time in the world to put money into this pot. And we have the nut flush. I'm going to bet really small here. Try to just get like a crying call from ace rag, something like that, or just like any club. So he does call. And this is my uncle here sitting on my left, so I don't want to bludgeon him too bad. Like, what is he going to call here? What do I know that he's going to call? Well, I think if he's got a weak club, he has to call something like 3,200, right? He's still in the tournament. Maybe I could go for more value, but I think that's a decent sizing. I gotta knock you out. I'm sorry, bud. Yeah, he's got the second nuts. What can you do? Sometimes you gotta go for the throat against your uncle and knock him first out of the tournament. I didn't want to do it, believe me, okay? And I got proof of that here. I didn't want to knock you out, Uncle Greg, but I had no choice. I had no choice. The game gave me no choice. It's sad. But now I have to win the tournament, right? I have to. Those are his chips I'm playing with now. So welcome back. Hope you guys enjoyed part 1. Haven't got a chance to watch it back. I hope the sound was at least somewhat okay. This is a new microphone, so you'll have to forgive me if it doesn't sound too great. So we made it to the final table. Congratulations to us. We start in the big blind with the lights on now. Under the bright lights with the 5-4 offsuit. Hoping to just see the flop for free. We flop kind of big here. We have bottom pair and an open ender. The pot's 2250. If we show some aggression, I expect to be called by a 6, a 7. But maybe those hands will let us draw to our straight at a cheaper price. Now when the 5 rolls off, yeah, I made 2 pair, but I'm losing to any 8 and any 3. But how many of those hands actually exist in their range? Like, you might see this card, we might have this card run out and you might think it's a bad card, but I'm not so sure that it is. I think it's actually my responsibility to make a bet here. Simply because we can't withstand aggression with our hand quite as easily as we can go after the pot. Like, what is he calling here with? What, a 3? Is that what he had to bet the flop with? I don't know. The pot is huge and I have 2 pair. I'm hoping it's just the best hand. And my cousin Nate is sitting in position. Like, I know his sophistication with playing poker isn't that much, so I'm hoping I have the best hand. Oh, he's got 7-5. Wow. Okay. Well, I think we got off kind of cheap there. I'm happy to see him win some chips because he's my cousin. I love him. I don't know if he's the best poker player, but he's got a good start to the tournament, so he's gonna do well, I hope. That makes sense. He had top pair and open-ended straight draw. Of course he's gonna continue. He didn't do anything wrong in that hand. But like I said, I didn't think anybody had a straight. Now I'm going to fold deuce 4 here for 250 more. Even multi-way, I just don't like it. Now that's a flop that I would like to see if I were in the pot for 250 more. Perhaps a peculiar fold, but deuce 4 is one of the worst hands in the game. It can't be too bad to fold there. Like, I wouldn't be thrilled to call this bet with my hand. Probably just saved a little bit of money there. A lot of times I'm caught in the middle between wanting to play what I know to be correct and playing what I find to be a very risk-averse strategy. Right? So in that last hand, when I bet 2,400 on the turn, that's a line for thin value that I know to be very strong and good, but it may be too advanced for my opponents. Like, perhaps I would have been better off just checking and getting to the river for free. I'm not even sure what I was expecting, what hands that were better I would expect to fold there. But, hey, it's the line that I took, and I'm going to have to live with it. Perhaps it was just bad all around, you know? Didn't feel too bad. So in position with Queen 9 offsuit. Like, again, caught between two worlds. I know that I'm in position I should be raising like a fair number of my hands. Queen 9 is a hand I could certainly raise, but... Oh, am I lagging out? I just hit call. Oh, a little bit of lag there. Like, I think it's probably correct to raise there. It's probably a better play, according to, like, game theory. But when you're trying to win a tournament against unskilled opponents, overthinking can be your downfall. Like, trying to play too sophisticated. I know I've said that a number of times in this video, but it's often what I think about, so I'm just verbalizing it. It's checked around to me. I feel like I could pick up the pot if I bet at it, but I could also face resistance. If any of them are at least somewhat thinking players, they would check an 8 there. I know I would. You know, you don't have to be too good to check 3 of a kind when you flop it. And they're certainly not folding that, you know? Now, when it comes another 7, I'm supposed to bet at this. Like, they've all told me that they don't have one of the cards on the board. And unless they have one of those cards, there's no reason for them to continue. Unless they're really thinking players, you know what I mean? So I gotta try to win this tournament. I gotta make the moves that I think are correct. Now, if Smack calls, I'm just done with it. Come on, fold it, Smack. You got 9,100. Yes! Yes! Yes, that's like the second time I've made that play in this tournament, where it was a double paired board and I had nothing in my hand, and I just showed aggression and won. Now, I wouldn't advise doing that 100% of the time, but sometimes you just have to go after the pot. Your opponents have given up. They're done with it. And that, 3,000 plus that was just sitting in the middle, like, I'd much rather have that in my stack for the next hand. So that is an advanced play. Like, so many other players would just check behind in that spot. It's just tough for your opponents to call in that position, you know? Oh, that's enough about that. 8-3 offsuit is certainly a fold there. I'm going to try to warm these chips up for a bit. So unless we win the tournament or get second place, well, unless we win the tournament, we're not making any money. This is almost a winner take all. It's like 180 for first. Second place gets their money back. So unless I get the win, I'm losing 20 bucks. So you better believe I'm playing for first place. Like, you got to try to get all the chips to win the tournament. So playing small ball at this point, it may not be to my best interests here. It may not be in my best interest to play in that sort of style. But of course, all you need is a chip and a chair, and there's a lot of poker to be played. Excuse me. And this video is going to be much different than the first one. I'm sorry, but it's going to be a lot more boring as well. Now, why is that? Why am I going to play a lot fewer hands on this table than I did in the previous? Well, the reason for that is that there are 9 players at this table in this game. This is a full ring game, and that's much different than a 5-handed game like we were playing on the first table. You have to be much more aggressive because you're being put into the blinds much more often in the in a 5-handed game. So of course I'm not going to play the 7 deuce, though I would have flopped 2 pair. Would have been a good time to just see a flop, but perhaps not. The 7 deuce gets you in trouble, and when the 8 rolls off, our hand looks much, much worse. When I fold a hand, like before the flop, I'm trying not to concern myself too much with what comes on the board, because you've already made your decision, you can't change it, and your decision isn't based on the results that happen after it necessarily. It's based on what's going to happen the majority of the time, or the lion's share of the time. Like, 7 deuce is the worst hand in the game. I'm not going to lament folding it too much, but let's say I folded a hand like 6-9 suited in that spot, and I would have flopped a straight. Well, I don't want to concern myself too much with that because it's probably mathematically correct for me to fold there anyway. So, you know, just the nature of poker, sometimes you're gonna, see a big hand that you would have had, and you're gonna be kicking yourself, oh, I should have played that hand. But really, that's a trap. It's a very common pitfall of thinking to fall into. And again, this video is going to be boring. I don't feel the need to play 10-8 offsuit in middle position. Just feels like a fold to me. Why not protect my stack, you know? Just doesn't flop that well. I think I might call with the hand like 9-10, maybe? Certainly a suited hand. 8-10 suited I'd probably call with. But look what would have happened. We would have put 600 in, and we would have faced a raise. So now we're playing for 1800 with a marginal hand. That's one of the lessons you learn quite quickly in playing poker, is that you're not going to get to see the flop for just a call a lot of the time. And when you put that call in, it incentivizes all the players behind you to raise and try to steal that money. So while it can be nice and comfortable to just put the 600 in and hope to see the board for that much, it's actually a very weak strategy. Again, we would have flopped kind of strong. We would have made top pair. But there's 10,000 in the middle. So much money to fight for in the middle. And I just don't think this guy's going to have a 10 very often. Right? He raised pre-flop. So how many 10s are in his range? Like ace 10, king 10 suited, queen 10. You know, there's some, but I think his range is comprised of a lot of other Broadway cards. Like, if I were in this guy's spot, I'd feel inclined to continue with a 6. Or a pair of 8s or a pair of 9s, something like that. He says, let's dance. He's got like ace jack or something. Like, I would love to call him with like a marginal hand in that spot. I just don't think he has a 10. Why would he play it that way, you know? Maybe he's got a big hand that he played strong from the beginning to end. Maybe, but not always. Not always. And again, tight is right for me. I have plenty of chips. I don't want to put him in the middle with queen deuce suited. And if I'm going to enter a pot with the big blind being this large, how many bigs do I have at this point? Like 100? No, I don't have nearly that many. None of us do. It's a 700. Let me pull out a calculator here. Okay, so 20,157 divided by 700. I have less than 30 big blinds. So if I'm going to enter the pot, you better believe it's going to be with a strong holding, and I'm going to do it for a raise. All these guys that are calling and trying to see a flop, that is an unconventional strategy. Definitely not game theory optimal. But look, it works. Like, they're going to see a flop for 700. It's amazing to me. So the player I'm really happy to see having chips is my cousin Nate, right here. Sitting at 36,000. We got Squatter over there with 34 and Owen at almost 40K. Followed by Red Sox and then me. And then we have 4 short stacks in M. Graber, TM9425, Mayhem, and Smack. I wonder if we can see the chip counts right now. Nope, it doesn't show them in the standings, but that's okay. We are in 5th place, right smack dab in the middle, with basically a starting stack. Under the gun, Jack 5, fold. So if I win this, I don't even have a Venmo. Like, I don't know how they're gonna pay me. I mean, it's a problem I'm probably not gonna have. I guess I just have him ship it to my uncle, and he'd give me the cash when he saw me, I guess. But if you're watching this video, if you're one of my friends, maybe you play World of Warcraft with me, or you're like I don't know, a friend from high school, college, some associate, I want to thank you so much for watching. I've never tried to do anything like this. like record myself playing poker. This is not like an online poker site for real money, so I feel comfortable pressing the record button. If I were playing on like say America's Card Room for real money, I wouldn't feel comfortable uploading that to YouTube because that's technically against the law. We're not breaking any rules here. I guess I've kind of divulged that we're playing for a small amount of money, but we're doing it through legal means. We're playing on a home game. So I actually might feel comfortable uploading this to YouTube and sharing that with people. I want to thank you so much for watching if you are, and I hope you're having a good time playing poker with me. Hopefully I don't make any monumental mistakes here. My whole plan was to just play standard, fundamental, kind of small ball, Daniel Negreanu poker. So far it's working out fairly well. Now this is a play I just can't understand. He's got 2,700 in his stack, and he's willing to limp in for 800. Like, what is he going to do when he gets raised? He has to call with any cards. So why not just jam and pick up the pot, like pick up the blinds a fair portion of the time? I'll never understand that. Maybe his thought process isn't quite that sophisticated. He was born in 1967, so, he's not one of these new age online poker phenom kids, I won't say like me because I'm not an online poker phenom, but I definitely did cut my teeth playing online poker. Like, I do have a solid foundation in that. I've run up a lot of bankrolls on various play money sites like Zynga and PokerStars. I've had, huge bankrolls at points, and then of course I just dumped them all away. But I've also played a lot of micro stakes, real money, no limit hold'em on various websites that I don't want to mention. But I'm not sure how many hands of poker I've played in my lifetime. Maybe something like 100,000? Something like that. If you count play money, I've played probably around 100,000 hands in my lifetime. If not a couple. That's a conservative estimate, but I can say with a fair degree of confidence that I've played that much poker. And that's probably more than anyone else at this table. I would be willing to wager that. So while I'm not like a professional, I'm not anything close to a professional, I am an experienced player. Okay, so we lost a player. We're in the final 8. We have King Queen offsuit in the small blind. It goes call, call, call. It's just shocking to me that this is the action. I'm supposed to raise. My hand is so good, but I'm out of position against all these players. I'm just going to see if I hit a king or a queen. We don't hit a king or a queen, but we have 2 overs and an open-ended straight draw. Our hand is so nice in this spot. I think if I bet here, it's a fine play. I could do a lot of things here. I could bet, I could check. I have equity to actualize. I want to see a 9 roll off on the turn. Now when he jams here, I have to call. I just have to call. How do I fold? I just don't think I could ever fold in this spot. He's going to have a jack. He has ace-10. Bink! No. Well, it happens. I had a lot of equity. 2 overs and an open-end straight draw. I'm not sure if I was the favorite, but it was at least 50-50. Let me pull up a calculator. Let's see. What did he have? He had ace-10, right? On like a jack-10-5. So ace-10 offsuit against king-queen offsuit on a jack-10-5 board. Yeah, we were around 50-50. I had 47%. Definitely had odds to call there. Um, hmm. Well, I'd be giving up almost 10% of my stack, or a little bit less than that, to call here in position. Our hand isn't great. I don't think we can raise and actually take the pot down in this spot. This guy entered voluntarily. He's not going to fold for like 2k more. If I were calling here, I'd just be gambling. You know, I would be hoping to bink the flop. And perhaps I have pot odds to call there, but I'm going to get in trouble a lot of the time when it comes like Queen Jack 8, and I'm playing against 4 other players, and it's very likely that one of them could have the top pair on the board here. How are all of them not going to have a queen? Like, how do I feel comfortable continuing with my hand here? I don't know that I would. I would almost have to certainly call 1,000 more, even just to try to hit 2 pair. So, sometimes poker is about seeing trouble ahead of time and knowing the nature of your hand and how it will get you into trouble before it does. Certainly couldn't call a bet like this on the river. Looks like Smack has the queen. Or 2 pairs, something like that. I mean, if he has a queen, he just has to call, right? Squatter has to call with a queen. How could he ever fold? The pot's so big. He's put in 5,500 on this street. Like, I would really struggle to fold a good hand there. But he lays down something. Pocket queens. Well, you know, there's always, you gotta die sometime. You know, you can't live forever. And, look at all this money that's out there. So how do I proceed? How do I make the most money in this hand? Do I want to size people out of this hand? Or do I want to like see a nice big pot multi-way? All these are questions I'm asking myself. I'm going to make it something nice and enticing, like 3,000. Try to get like multiple callers. And that seems like a bad idea. I'm really gambling and hoping to not see an ace or a king on the flop. If I see a flop like that, I feel very comfortable. But of course, it always comes an ace or a king on the flop when you have 2 queens in your hand. We flop 4 of a kind? Is this real life? That just doesn't happen. This is the second time I've flopped quads in this tournament. And I don't think I've flopped quads in the past like couple years. I have flopped 4 queens before. It's happened. So I'm definitely checking. I'm not going to give my opponents I'm not going to let them get out of this hand until the river, if I have to. You know, I want to let them hit whatever they can in the meantime. Or give them a chance to bluff. It's still tempting to go for like a little bit of value. Right? I have to try to like build the pot. At least position my stack to go for the river. Okay, so he calls. How is he ever going to fold? If he has an ace, it's going in. If he has like a pair of anything, it's going to be tough for him to fold. He goes to the time bank. I think he has a hand he just wants to get to showdown with. We're going to bet 4, 5, 6, 7. And take our chips back. We really want to see a call here, obviously. Captain Obvious, we want to see a call. I think that's an appropriate bet sizing. It keeps him in the tournament if he just calls. The guy says, come on, Mike. He puts it in with King 6. Wow. Okay. Second time I flop quads, it's true. Okay, so how many big blinds do we have? Still not many. The big blind is huge. It's 1,200. We have 32,282 divided by 1,200 is, again, like 27 big blinds. So, while we don't have many big blinds, we still have one of the bigger stacks on the table. I'm still going to approach this with the same methodology. Tight is right. I could go crazy and try to like steal pots and play super aggressive, Phil Ivey poker. You know, I could try to play power poker, but I don't feel like that's necessary in this lineup. I think that might get me into more trouble than anything. And I thought this video was going to be kind of boring and slow, but after some players get knocked out and the big blind is huge, it goes right back to a pretty action-packed structure. Deuce 9. That's an easy fold. Easy fold. We'll let all those other boys go to war. I'm fine with that. I'm actually going to get a drink of water real quick. I'll be right back. Okay. Back in business. What do we have here? Action. A lot of action there. Not sure what happened, but some chips moved around. The stack sizes have evened up. So the short stack is no longer as short as he was. We're in third place. Would have flopped top 2 pair. This is known as the computer hand because it's the perfect average hand. It's right in the middle of the full range of possibilities. So the nickname for it is the computer hand. Under the gun, I'm never going to play this holding, so like I said, when I see 2 pair out there that I would have flopped, I don't get too upset at something like that. I'm comfortable knowing that I did the right thing overall. Can't be too results oriented. We get to see a free flop. We flop bottom pair. Blocker to a straight. I'm happy to check here. I think my cousin is going to play this pretty straightforward. He's going to bet if he's got a good hand, and if he doesn't, he's probably going to check. So I may get to actualize my equity. When he does bet, I think it's safe to give him credit for something like a queen or a 10. And I can fold with impunity. I think it's fair to do that. Now, it's tempting to try to improve on the turn, to call for 1400, hit 2 pair, and maybe win a lot of money. But I can't bank on that. I only have 5 outs to improve my hand. Yup, he continues to apply pressure in the hand. That's 4,200. To me, this looks like a queen. Nice, he picks up the pot. Happy to see it. Pocket fours, the sailboats, in the small blind. Now, if it goes call, call, call around and there's no raise, I'm definitely just calling, because this hand can flop huge. If I see a sailboat out there, I can win a big pot. And I don't want to try to get these guys to fold. Hands like king, queen, that's just not going to happen. If I jam and they call with a hand like that, I'm really just flipping a coin. And I'm flipping a coin with players who I feel like I have an advantage against. So why would I do that? Okay, well, 3 spades. We have a very small spade and a very small pair. Seems like a good time to check. I just like playing small pairs in this way. I like to try to see a flop, because let's say you put out a raise and someone jams. Well, you don't like calling anymore because they can have a higher pair and you're in absolute jail if that's the case. And folding, if they fold and you pick up the blinds, it's just okay. I mean, that's a great result. But if you get called by, let's say, I don't know, a fairly high range of hands, there's going to be a lot of boards that you're going to have trouble playing post-flop with pocket fours. Let's say this was 9-7 Jack Rainbow. Well, we're going to lose this pot a lot of the time just because we can't withstand the pressure that our opponents are going to put on us if they're bluffing or if they have it. So I find it simpler to play these low pocket pairs in this fashion. Either you flop a set or you don't lose any more money. It may not be like the absolute best way to play the hand. Perhaps raising would be better. But I find it to be a much more reliable, simple way to play the hand. Jack 3 suited on the button, in position. This, of course, isn't a very strong holding, but it's suited. It does flop well sometimes. But again, this is like, I have 20 big blinds at this point. Why would I want to put 5% of my stack in with this hand? Maybe I just let it go. Try to stretch out my chips a little bit longer. I do think it'd probably be fine to call, mathematically. But I'm going to save the money in that spot. Hope you guys like my background. I just picked it out. Wanted to show out for the video. That's me right now. The wolf with the eyes. Hungry. I want to win this tournament. So badly. If anything, just to show my uncle that I can really play the game, you know, at a fairly high level. I've always wondered if he would ever stake me, you know, because he's got plenty of money, and I've never asked him for anything like that. I've always gone into cash games with 100% of myself, never been staked, always risked my own money all of the time. And it'd be a nice little feather in my cap to be able to say, yeah, but I won that tournament. You saw that. I felt bad knocking him out of the tournament because he's a good player. Like, he can really play the game, and he deserves to be in this field. So we're down to the final 6. Top 6. Go off Egan. These guys all know each other. I'm the redheaded stepchild of the bunch. But of course, that's my name, Nick Katruppi. Nice to meet you if I don't know you. Thank you so much for watching. If you're a poker enthusiast and you stumbled upon this video, maybe it's sometime in the future and this is like a time capsule for my poker playing abilities. But just happy I haven't butchered a hand yet. I think I've played pretty solid the whole way, if I say so myself. With a pair of 3s here, I feel like I should min-raise. Of course we get 3-bet immediately. That's such a tough result for this type of hand because we're not going to hit a 3 very often, and we're forced to call here. And of course, this board is quite good for a pocket pair. When you see a paired board with a queen out there, that's not a bad texture for our hand. He bets 1,600. I'm just supposed to raise, like... If he's got it, he's got it. If we get a call on our left... Oh, this is a terrible result. An absolutely horrible result. I mean, there's a chance they both have drawing hands and we're going to win at Showdown. I don't think it's very high. So it's time to pump the brakes and pull up. Oh, and he's going to bluff here so often with so many different hands that he knows he's not winning with at Showdown. 11,000, huh? Well, with him calling, at least I know that he's going to get looked up on the river. A pair of 3s does not stand to win here at Showdown very often. So I'm just gonna let this one go. Wow. Flops a full house. So he had us in complete jail. Still made it to the final 5. We're in it. We're not out of it. This guy's the resounding chip leader, though. And it's not how good you run at the beginning of the tournament or at the middle. It's always how good you run at the end. Ace, ace, 4. Well, if ever there's a board that I think I should be winning on, it's this one. We have to charge diamond draws and hands that have like 2 overcards. I think it's important that we bet there. And I don't see another option here but going all in. There's too much in the middle. We can't allow our opponents to draw 2 better hands. We need to protect our pair of 4s. So this could be the end of the video. We're going to have to live with that if it's the case. But I'm all in. And if I get called quickly, I know it's over. The longer he waits, the longer this guy waits, the better I feel about it. If he's got a hand like Jack 10 of diamonds, he feels compelled to call. And he should call against my exact hand. But I hope we have the best hand now. After he calls, I don't love it though, obviously. But we could still have the best hand. It's possible. But of course he could have sevens, sixes, fives. He could have a lot of things that have us beat right now. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. He calls it off with king 10 offsuit. Two naked overs. Yeah, okay. He's supposed to fold that hand, by the way. Okay, so we're in second place, and we won chips off of the chip leader. We played our hand in the only way we could. I'm getting pot odds to call here with any two cards. It's 900 to see a flop with the 7-4. So we should do it. I'll follow the mathematics. King 7-3. So we flop second pair. I think I can proceed with a check with these guys at my table. I think that might be okay. He's going to bet 1,800. Wow. Very small bet, but a huge portion of his stack. I think a lot of the time, if I were him and I'm betting this, I've got a king. But it's so hard for me to fold because there's 8,300 in the middle. I could hit a 7, I could hit a 4, my hand can improve. Mathematically, I feel it to be correct to call. But I'm not going to improve that often. And they could still come from behind against me. And with smack continuing in the hand, I know this guy's going to get called. He's going to get looked up. So even if he's bluffing, I mean, that's another player knocked out. It's also worth noting that this is a home game tournament structure, so even if you get something like second place or third place, you get points added to like your tournament, your club standings. So I'm not just playing for money here. As much as the money would be nice, it would be nice to win the tournament and make some money. I don't really care much about that. I would also like to see my name on these club standings, you know, for finishing third or what have you. You know, seeing another player get knocked out. There's some equity in that for me. Maybe not for everybody. Now, I've got the 9-4 offsuit. I think it's probably correct to go after the pot, right? To raise, to make a stand, to win this, because they're going to have rags a lot of the time, and they're just going to fold. But I'm a big wussy, and I like the chips that I have in my stack, and I'm going to warm them up. I like to think of it that way. I'm kind of hoping that they have a nice hand that they wouldn't have folded, you know. Of course, when I see this flop, I have some remorse. As the train, like, blows its whistle behind me, like, you should have called! Follow your gut! Raise when you know you're supposed to. It's interesting how you get deep in a tournament and it's tough to act in the same way that you would have. Or in the way that you know to be correct. It's just difficult to make the right decisions down the stretch. But that's poker. It's all pressure. Maybe we saved ourselves a bunch of money when the queen and the 10 roll off. I mean, happier I folded now. He does have a queen, so we kind of dodged a bullet. Would have been a fine play, but I think he would have called. They would have continued with queen 9. I don't think he can fold a hand that good. We still only have 22 big blinds. We keep seeing this line of play where our opponents are just calling and not raising pre-flop. It's quite strange. 7-9 isn't a hand that I have to play, so I'm just going to let it go. Man, I love the Phil Ivey portrait. That guy's like my hero. Growing up watching him, certain hands that he played, he was just such a master. So clearly head and shoulders above all the other players in the world, in my opinion. Of course, Tom Dwan came around, Patrick Antonius, and they showed themselves to be juggernauts of the early poker boom. But Phil Ivey was just the man, right? Okay, Jack 10 suited, we raise 6,000. We're hoping to see a fold-fold from the players behind us, which we're gonna a lot of the time. And we're, of course, hoping to see smack fold, too. We want to pick up the blinds for nothing. That's a great result with this hand. But he does call. And it comes 5-5-4. We must continue. We must continue all the time in that spot. He's just folding so much of his range. It's so hard for him to connect with that board, right? 5-5-4, we could have all of the pocket pairs. Ace-4 in the big blind. Owen limps in. He wants to play. He wants to see a flop. Wow. The small blind clicks it up from 1K to 4K. Well, we can't fold. We have ace high. We flop bottom pair. We can fold now. I think we can pretty safely fold now. But I don't think we can fold this hand pre-flop to one more big blind. I know I say things like we can do this. That might seem strange, but I don't know. You're the viewer, and we're playing this together theoretically. So I could say things like I, but if I'm teaching and instructing, I'll use the word we. Wow. So Owen got kind of coolered there. He flopped top pair top kicker against top pair king kicker, and a king rolled off on the turn. Definitely shifts the balance of power in this tournament, and we're in second place. We're on the second break, and that's going to be part 2 of the tournament. I'm happy to be playing this tournament. It's really fun. I hope we get to do this more often. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one, and peace.